Alright, let's do this. Let's do this. All right, let's jump into the markets and see what Manara got for us. It's gonna be a quick one. I'm traveling today, going to Venice, and later on, surprise destinations. But it's a nice trip. I'm going to link up with a Free Mind Squad. As you guys know, I'm with a team called Free Minds, a team of entrepreneurs and traders, online entrepreneurs, investors, and we're linking up. Some of us, we're a big squad, but some of us leaders linking up, and that's gonna be at a certain event. I'm gonna document that event, so you guys gonna see. But with that said, traveling later today, so there won't be no more. So tomorrow morning I won't stream because I will be on a plane at that time, and I'm actually done streaming live for the rest of this week. Monday we will be active again, and on Monday, as I said before, what's happening is we starting the boot camp. So for all y'all that want to trade and you're still in the beginning or don't know nothing about trading, what will happen is I will go through all the basics. I will do like a mini boot camp that whole week. Maybe we extend it to the week after also, but we start with that week, and I will go through all the basics, everything from what is a candlestick to support, resistance, trend trading, and of course Fibonacci. I will go through everything that you need to know to have the confirmations that I use when I'm trading. All right. With that said, let's jump into Manara, our favorite tool, our best friend. Let's see what Manara got for us. If we all don't know, Manara is an AI scanner. It scans the market for patterns. So this is where we always start the stream. We check what kind of patterns Manara got scanned for us, what kind of patterns it had detected in the market for us. And what it does is, here you see the pair that is scanned. Here you see the pattern, and here you see the time frame, and if it's complete or not complete. So now we're looking at gold. It's not complete, but what we're gonna do is we have another gold pattern, and this triangle pattern that is complete. That one has already passed entry. What we'll do is jump into gold because there's a lot of action with gold right now, and we want to see what's going on here. And you guys know this is one of my favorite pairs to trade. So I can take that back. Actually, we can go into that. This is a trade that we were looking at yesterday, and what I said was we gotta let the market come to us. I think we were here somewhere when that happened. Yeah, we were here. So I said I want to see the market break through this 23.6 Fibonacci resistance, which is this blue line here. I want to see us break through and retest it for a possible buy. But it never happened. We've been ranging down here between 1860 and 1877. We've been ranging between that, and right now I don't see a breakout coming. This orange line, for you who don't know, this is where we see the volume. This is where we see volume spikes. So there's a lot of volume here in this zone, in this orange zone. And what happens is when you have those kind of volume zones, most often the bottom and the tops of them starts acting as support and resistance. And also what happens is, here's another liquidity zone, another volume zone, this whole gray area. What happens is market, let's say it breaks out from here, it will magnetize towards that liquidity zone. What do I mean with magnetizing? What I mean is we have a lot of order, unfilled order in this area, in this whole gray box here. So market will tend to go in that direction to fill those orders before it does anything else, before it drops down further or continues up. You can see on these candles also directly that we got a lot of unfilled orders in this area. Whenever you got big moves like this with a lot of volume, then you know that there's going to be a lot of unfilled order there, and the market will want to correct itself, will want to go back to clear those orders before making anything else. So before moving on further down, or let's say it wants to go up. In the short term, what do we see? Well, in the short term, remember guys, if you got any questions, type it in the chat. I will try to answer them as we go along. On the short term, if you go to the 1 hour time frame, let's remove this thing here, and let me know if you guys can't hear me straight, because I ain't got my, for y'all that have been along on this streams, you know I always have my assistant here with me, which actually is my younger brother, but he's not here, he's also traveling, so he's in Sweden right now doing this thing, so he'll be back, but until then I will handle the chat and everything myself. But with that said, so I don't know if the music is too loud or so, but I think it's good. With that said, on the 1 hour time frame, actually gold looks strong. I like this. But when we check gold, we gotta check the Dixie first. DXY, we call it the Dixie. What is that? It's a dollar index. And it's actually a bunch of currencies bunched together to represent a fair value of dollar compared to other currencies in the world. All right. So, what currencies are bunched together in a basket? It's I don't know all of them. I think it's, or maybe I know all of them. I think it's 5 currencies. So it's Japanese yen, it's Swiss francs, it's the Chinese yuan. Yeah, I don't know all of them, but that's some of them. I think Swedish krona is also in that basket as well. So we got some different currencies in that basket that is compared against the dollar, and this is the dollar index. So looking at the dollar index, well, the US dollar has been dropping ever since October, ever since late October last year. And when the US dollar drops, what happens? Gold goes up. So you can see it's almost perfectly correlating. Like if you look at gold started to move up Friday, the 4th of November. It started to make the real pump. And the US dollar made a real... Alright guys, sorry, I don't know what happened there, but it is what it is. I'll cut that off. Hopefully everything works good now. My streaming software just cut off from nowhere. I don't know what happened. Well, anyways, let's jump straight back into it. And so what we see is we have this. You see this white line here. This white line represents a very strong support and resistance that we've that has been in the Dixie, on the Dixie chart, on the Dixie market. And you guys saw it trying to break through, then it broke through, retested it as support before we had this whole bull run here. So pump, came down, tested it several times as support before it finally did a little fake out and broke through down to this yellow zone. This yellow zone is what we call the sweet spot. Why do we call it the sweet spot? It's because it's a zone, it's the 50% to the 61.8% retracement, and that zone represents very often an area where you will find a lot of liquidity in the market, as I mentioned before, with unfilled orders. So market tends to magnetize towards this zone, especially after a bigger pump. It needs to correct itself. It needs to go back and pick up more liquidity. So it's been down here, and it actually hasn't been ranging here for much. So it's breaking out now, and we'll see if it manages to break out, to break through this white line that represents resistance from these previous supports and resistance. If it breaks through, then what can happen is we can see the US dollar rally back up again, which will mean that gold will drop much further down. Same for the Euro USD, same for the GBP USD, same for any pair that is paired against the US dollar, basically. But as we guys know, there's a lot of fundamental factors. There's a lot of things going on in the world. We're having black swan events. It feels like all the time. But most importantly, we need to be cautious and keep a lookout for what the Fed says. First and foremost, Jerome Powell, Papa Powell. So we basically. Normally, when we chart, I say it's 80% charting, 20% fundamentals. But when it comes to the Dixie, I would say it's about 50-50, if not even 60% fundamentals. So with that said, we see that the US dollar is at a major resistance here. You see it on the 4-hourly time frame. It's retesting this area, and that will give us a better picture of what gold is doing. So gold is down here retesting this area as support, and it's right now also retesting on the other side the 200-day EMA when we look on the 4-hourly time frame. So on the 4-hourly time frame, we have the 200 EMA, which is this red line, and we see market retesting it. And if it managed to break through, depends a lot on this. What will happen here? If you see the US dollar break through, you will see gold reject the 200-day EMA and get drop back down. How far down, we don't know. So zooming in on the shorter time frame, basically, if to see a trade in gold today, we want to see this break. We want to see gold. Where's my pen? We want to see gold break through and close a candle above this white line that you see here. And we want, sorry, not gold, I mean the US dollar. And we want to see gold do the opposite, break through the 20-day EMA on the hourly time frame. And this whole liquidity zone, this is a liquidity spike, this whole orange zone here. We want to see it break through that as well. And even better, retest it from underneath as support, as resistance. If that happens, I definitely see a sell in this market. That sell, the entry for that sell would come as late as, I might do a short scalp, very short scalp. We're gonna see how the market plays out before I call that trade. But a very short scalp would be something like this. Now that one is even too short. It's not even. We got more than 20 pips in here. Nope. So no scalping there. So because we don't do any scalp there, what I need to see is a real confirmation of this whole zone being breached, so being broken, and that means market needs to come down here and show that this support that we have here is broken and retested as resistance. If that happens, I'll see a further sell for gold, further drop, and I will call that out in the signals channel. So if you guys ain't in the Telegram signals channel, make sure you join it. It's in the link is in the description box for the stream. But that would be that. So with that said, I'm setting an alarm. At about 1863. I'm setting alarm at about 1863. Yeah. If you don't know how to set an alarm, you go to the right corner where the price is, where the price bar is, and you press this plus button. It says in Swedish, but you set an alarm. And then when you have this orange line, that's the alarm. So whenever the market passes through this orange line, I will get a signal. Okay? With that said, we basically are waiting for the US dollar to do its thing because we can't determine what Euro USD will do and what GBP USD will do until we see the US dollar do its move. And we have no major news coming out today that can signal us about anything that will happen with US dollar. Let us see here. No, nothing for the US dollar. We got red folder for, we actually got one. Am I blind? Fed Chair Powell speaks. Jerome Powell speaks today 6 p.m. On what? Okay, basically, so what do you say? What? To be honest with you guys, I'm not really sure what he's going to speak about. Sometimes I don't even know if he knows it himself. But one thing he says, though, that is very important to understand: if more hawkish than expected, it's good for currency. That means for y'all that don't know hawkish and dovish. So hawkish means if he's more aggressive with a raise of interest rates or whatever they decide upon. If he's more aggressive than expected, then that will be good for the US currency. That will mean that the US dollar will pump. If dovish, if he's less aggressive than expected, let's say the market expects him to raise the interest rates with 50 points and he decides to raise it with 25 points. That's being dovish, and that means that the US dollar would drop. If the US dollar drops, we already spoke about it, what happens? Gold goes up. Euro USD goes up, GBP USD goes up. So that's it. Otherwise, we just have red folders for AUD, the Australian dollar, and that is basically it from one. Yeah, Canadian dollar as well. So if we trade in those pairs, we know what to look for. But right now, we stick into the US dollar. So guys, with that said, as I said, I'm traveling today, so I'm keeping this very short. But I will keep an eye on this gold trade. We have set the alarm here. We have set. I'm gonna set an alarm for the Dixie as well, for the US dollar as well. I want to see it breach this white line. That is the major resistance that we have. If it does so, we might see a big drop for Euro USD, GBP USD, and gold. We'll keep an eye on those news as well. So with that said, if you ain't in the signals channel, join it. I will call out those trades there. And have a blessed day and stay prosperous.